Family shopping. Don't you just love it? Now I know all about family shopping because I have 3 daughters. Kimberly 22, Claudia 19 and Jasmine 16. Now, as part of my role as a father, we have always agreed that whenever we go away on holiday, we have a shopping day. And a few years back, we went to Paris to Disney. Now, I'm a bit of a Disney addict. That's not what I'm going to talk about today, but Disney is one of the best places for brand. If you want to learn about brand, Disney is a great place. So I get to go to Disney, and my daughters had a day in Paris. And on the list was a shop called Abercrombie & Fitch. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. This is them here, Abercrombie & Fitch. And my oldest daughter thought this would be on the Champs-Élysées. So we took the métro to the Arc de Triomphe end, and we started walking down the Champs-Élysées. And after about an hour and a quarter, we'd reached the Place de la Concorde end, and we had not found this Abercrombie & Fitch. So I have to say I was getting a little bit grumpy. I would sooner be at Euro Disney. But we kind of committed ourselves, and my daughter was convinced it was on the Champs-Élysées. So we turned around and we walked back up, and about a quarter of the way up on the left-hand side, we came across this, a metal sign in a fence for Abercrombie & Fitch. So, and adjoining it was a beautiful gate, ornate gate and everything, with 2 very fine-looking young fellows standing there. So we approach and they go, "Oh no, mademoiselle, we are sorry. You have to join the queue." The queue? Is a queue to get in? How long is the queue? Today the queue is 45 minutes. 45 minutes to queue to get into a shop? Hold on, I'm out now. I'm out. So you can't quite see on the shop, but there were some little benches just on the side of the path there. So I sat myself on one of those and started thinking about what's going on. And my daughter joined the queue. 45 minutes. And actually, whilst I was waiting, at one point I would wave every now and then, and all of a sudden, at one point I couldn't see them. I'd lost them entirely because everybody in the queue had long blonde hair, and they had their mums with them, and they had, blah blah, and they're all the same age and all that. So I couldn't see. And then eventually they got to the front and disappeared in. And of course, I'm thinking, well, they've only just got in. We're now 2 hours into this shopping expedition, and they're probably going to be at least another half an hour, maybe even an hour. So I started thinking about work and business and what was going on and all that sort of thing. And then I got very sad because I started to count sheep. Instead of counting sheep, however, I counted the number of people carrying an Abercrombie & Fitch bag that were leaving Abercrombie & Fitch. And the first count of 100 yielded 81 people carrying a bag. And the second, I thought it was unbelievable. So what I actually then did is I counted a second 100, of which 83 had a bag from Abercrombie & Fitch. That's an 81%, 82% conversion rate. Now here's the thing, guys. How would you like a business which nobody can find, nobody can see? You have to queue for 45 minutes to go in and yields an 82% conversion rate. How would you like a business like that? Hands up if you'd like a business like that. Absolutely. We'd all like a business like that. So I'm really thinking now. I'm in the middle of writing my second book. My first one I have with me here, going extra cheap. I'm about to publish my second one. But the truth of the matter is, I'm sitting there thinking, what's going on here? This can't simply be a case of people just queuing for random stuff. And actually what it means, and the conclusion I came to, was it's not about selling anymore. It's about how you help people to buy. And this is a fundamental shift in the way marketing works. See, marketing of old is all about telling people all about what you do and blasting it out to as many people as you can afford. But that actually isn't happening anymore. Because in the new knowledge economy, since the arrival of the internet, actually we as the buyers of these things are in control. And the brand owner, we as business owners, have no control over the selling process anymore. This is backed up by a big piece of research that comes from a book called The Challenger Customer. If you read business books, this is worth reading. It follows up a book called The Challenger Sale. And according to this book, and it's a front for an organisation called CEB. They're a big American research company. But actually, what they say in this book are that actually when people contact you for the very first time, they've already made 57% of the decision to buy from you. Now, I don't know about what you're doing in your marketing, but the reality of this is that people are already more likely to buy from you than they're not when they contact you for the very first time. This means you have to use your marketing channels in an entirely different way to the way you've been using them before. Because it's not about outbound marketing anymore. It's not about blasting everybody with your story, your why, your what, all of that sort of thing. That's gone now, everybody. Forget it. Actually, what we've got to be doing now is reeling people inbound. They're effectively coming towards us. It would be fair to say that everybody that we all need in this room for our business plans is currently online looking for us. The question I have for you is, can you get found? We have to build brands that matter. It's an imperative now that actually the stories, the marketing that we do, when people engage them, they've got to say, that really matters to me. That's important to me. And then they're much more likely to work with you. So the thing we need to do is really redefine what brand is about. See, brand, well, what if I say brand to you, what does that mean? What does that mean to people in the room? What does it, shout out what you think it means. Brand. If I say brand, what do you mean?
Logo.
A logo, exactly. Anything else?
Experience.
An experience, yeah?
Who you are.
Who you are, all those sorts of things. And the trouble is, if I go on long enough, we'll end up with the same list I've got in the office, which is 74 different answers to what brand stands for. Quality, perception in the consumer's mind, all sorts of different things. The reality is that's not what brand is anymore. What brand is today is every experience that affects the relationship between a product or service and its buyer. That's what a brand is today. Now, I only know this because I've been working this definition since 1999 when we first came up with it. Let me just explain it to you very quickly. The first thing, a true brand can only exist in the mind of a buyer, somebody who has exchanged money or time for your product or your service. Because it's only then is the relationship fully formed for them to have a true value on it. And there's a key point of this, is actually this is a relationship now. It's a relationship that I value more than the money in my pocket. And if we could create a relationship that looks like it's worth more than the money in the pocket, what would you do with the money in your pocket? You'd probably give it to me because my relationship is worth more. So the money acts as an investment. So every experience that we have now across the whole business, your systems, your processes, the way you answer your phone, the way you dress, the way you package your goods, the way you present your proposals, the way you deliver your promise on your websites, all of that now links to everything related to brand. So we need to build those relationships. So the first thing you need to do is you need to define a story. What's your story? Now, there's lots of people who talk about what's your story. Actually, it's a very complicated thing. I'm not going to dwell on it, but it has 4 B's that are at the cornerstone of it. The first thing you have to define are what your behavioural values are. What's your style of doing business? Because we buy from people we like, don't we? So therefore, you've got to portray your style through your brand. You've also got to define your benefits. Not your features, not your whys, not your whats, your benefits. How you make a difference to people. You also have got to define what you want people to believe about you. And ultimately define what you want to become famous for. These are the cornerstones of your value proposition. And these values feed everything you do in your organisation. So that's the first part you need. You also need to define your ideal prospect. Because that's the relationship part between your story, your value proposition, and your ideal prospect. And to do this, you have to give them a profile that's psychographic, not demographic. So it's no good segmenting markets and taking them by age, actually. What you need to be doing is segmenting your target market by attitude, by style, by emotion. because they're the people you're going to build a relationship with your brand. And these are the two cornerstones. And then what you need to do is systemize your marketing into 3 particular phases. And we call this on the head. Because the first thing you need to do is you need to engage people. And the online arena presents us with a real key way of doing that, actually. So if you take Abercrombie & Fitch, you'll notice when you go onto Google, they've got Facebook, they've got Instagram, they've got LinkedIn, they've got Twitter, but they've also got YouTube, they've also got a blog, and they also are active on TripAdvisor. On TripAdvisor, it says, we're about to go to Barbados, we need to buy some clothes from Abercrombie & Fitch, where's the nearest one? Ooh. And they respond to it. Now, if you look at that, there's the shop. And as a result of interacting with all of this, of course, when people will go and queue for 45 minutes to go into the shop, actually when they're queuing, it's part of the experience of expectation of going into the store. And if you've queued for 45 minutes, you're not going to walk out without a purchase, are you? Because that will be a waste of 45 minutes. You need to do this in your own organizations. Now, this is only just B2C. This is B2B as well. Look at Oracle. They've got active Twitter, they've got active Facebook, they've got active YouTube, they've got active LinkedIn, they've got Instagram, which we have for our business, and they even have blogs as well. So if you want to go and find out about Oracle, you just have to go online, and there they are. They don't need fancy offices anymore. It's all there. And people are inbound towards them, they're finding out this information. You need to do the same. So you have to engage. The second thing you have to do, so that's the E of Ed, the second D of Ed, is demonstrate. You need to demonstrate why people should buy from you. And the way to do that is to convey your value. Now, this is my most favorite definition of value. Product quality plus service quality divided by price paid plus ease of doing business. I think this is a fantastic formula for value. Now, what's interesting about this is when you talk to business owners, they say, well, it's predominantly about product quality and the price people pay. It's about that. But here's the thing, Gallup have done some research on this, and the perception of value is 85% reliant on service quality and ease of doing business. And the product and the price paid is worth less than 15% of the value perception. So if you're thinking you've got a great product and you're doing a great deal on it, I'm afraid you're in the wrong place. What you've actually got to be doing is really nailing your service and really nailing making it easy for people to buy from you. If you do that, then you're going to have a much better business. And only marketing people can help you do that. Because that helps you convey your benefits, your benefits, your benefits. What you should also do is, having demonstrated that through your website and your literature and your work on Instagram and Facebook, you should demonstrate this further with a test drive. So all the websites I design are only about test drives. They don't have any other information on them. So for example, I work with one of the UK's leading chiropractic practices. And when you go onto their front page, you can have a rate your health, have a free health check, or book a massage. Now you can find out all the other information as well, but that's what you're greeted with first. Because the people who are visiting your website are well on their way to 57% of a decision to buy from you. That's how they got to your website. So give them a go. Demonstrate your value right from the off. This works for B2B as well. This is a chemical company. And if you looked at their original website, it was all about how long they'd been established and what they did. But the reality is now you can either talk to an expert, get a quote, or request a test kit. The test kit has resulted in 800% uplift in sales. Just the test kit alone. Because people go and try it and then they come back and they order some more. So you've got to do this. You've got to build into your marketing plan a test drive. So now I've engaged you, I've demonstrated what you can do. So far I've given you no money. It's cost you as a business a lot of money to get these prospects in. So what you now need to do is to deliver. Now this comes with a brand health warning. Because often after people have bought from you, they're called something special. But the brand health warning is you must never, ever treat your buyers as customers. Because the moment you do that in neuroscience terms, what it'll do is they'll go to the part of your brain which means that you're automatically in some kind of relationship with them. Now think about that for a minute. You start to miss out all the important points of keeping the relationship going. So we refer to them as paying prospects. So you keep talking to them as if they're about to go away. Keep them entertained, keep them excited, even after they bought from you. Create a wow. So everything you do must be a wow. Everything, without exception. Do not spend the horses. If it was down to me, I'd spend all my marketing money at the bottom of the bucket, not at the top. And then what you need to do is you need to keep talking to your loyal customers all of the time. So in other words, you need to fill them with advocacy and approval, endorsement and affirmations, because then it's much harder for them to say no. Whereas if you don't talk to them and other people niggle at them and tell them they're not doing the right thing or whatever, actually it makes them much harder for them to say yes. So you have to keep talking to them in marketing terms, all of the time, existing customers. And if you do that, if you start with your value proposition, if you always treat everyone associated with your business as a prospect, if you focus on inbound activity rather than on outbound activity, if you run your marketing as a process, an on-the-ed process, if you make buying from you amazing, what you will have at the end of that is a very powerful brand. I've been Barnaby Winter of the Brand Bucket Company. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, you are tuned in to the Bella Networking Facebook show. And yes, I know it's a Tuesday, but I have a bonus for you. We are streaming live in London, a Bella Networking seminar all about to grow your brand. And a big thank you to Barnaby Winter. Can we give him a round of applause? And one thing that really stood out to me, what he was talking about, is customers buy on benefits, customers buy on value, and it's all about the wow factor. So do you guys have any questions for Barnaby? I would love to hear. Just hit the comments box at the box, and I'd love to hear the interaction.